Hi, I'm Scott Shaw from Audio Solutions here at Audio-Technica, and today we're going to show you how to use your AT-LP120 turntable. Audio-Technica brings its legendary audio quality and audio performance to the digital realm with this LP to digital turntable. Because the AT-LP120 turntable is a precision instrument, setting it up improperly can possibly degrade its performance and cause premature wear to both your records and stylus. Carefully unpack the turntable and verify that you have all of the parts. You should have the turntable, the platter, slip mat, 45 RPM adapter, a plastic dust cover and 2 hinges, the head shell with a pre-mounted Audio-Technica cartridge, a metal counterweight with attached stylus force gauge, a power cord, USB cable, 2 stereo adapter cables, a CD with the Audacity recording software, and the product manual. Before we can use the turntable, we must assemble it, balance the tone arm, and set the proper tracking force for the included cartridge. Start by placing the platter and slip mat onto the center spindle. Make certain the platter is fully seated on the spindle. Next, assemble the tone arm. First, remove and discard the vinyl tie that was used to secure the tone arm during shipping. Temporarily secure the tone arm and the tone arm rest with the locking clamp. Attach the head shell assembly by inserting it into the socket at the end of the tone arm. While holding the head shell in position, rotate the head shell locking ring counterclockwise. As the ring rotates, it pulls the head shell into its seated position. Tighten carefully. Next, install the counterweight, making certain that the black stylus force gauge dial is oriented toward the front. As you turn the counterweight, it will engage threads on the tone arm. The turntable comes with a dust cover and 2 plastic hinges. To install the dust cover, first install the plastic hinges in the receptacle on the rear of the turntable. Next, carefully guide the dust cover onto the hinges, engaging the slots molded into the rear of the dust cover. Note that there is only one open position, about 45 degrees. You can also remove the dust cover completely if desired. Now we will balance the tone arm and set the tracking force. This important process allows the cartridge to track properly, and failure to do so can cause your stylus to wear prematurely or possibly cause damage to your records. First, set the AntiSkate adjustment knob to 0. Carefully remove the protective cover from the stylus by sliding it straight forward off the front of the cartridge. Be very careful not to damage the exposed stylus by dragging across the slip mat. While gently holding the head shell to stabilize the tone arm, release the tone arm locking clamp. At this point, the tone arm is unbalanced and can freely swing. Still gently holding the head shell, carefully rotate the counterweight until the tone arm is horizontally balanced and hovers freely just above the platter, without touching the platter surface. Once the tone arm is balanced, without touching the counterweight, carefully lock the tone arm back into its rest. Now set the stylus tracking force. Every cartridge has a manufacturer's recommended tracking force. Setting the tracking force too light results in the stylus skipping out of the groove on loud or dynamic passages. Setting it too heavy can cause excessive wear on both your stylus and records. Identify the cartridge included with your turntable by the stylus assembly color. The ATP2 cartridge has a white stylus assembly. Set its tracking force at 3.5 grams. If your turntable has an AT95E cartridge with a green stylus assembly, set its tracking force at 2.0 grams. Locate the black stylus force gauge ring on the front of the counterweight. It can rotate independently from the counterweight and is marked with numbers and lines representing different tracking forces. Without turning the counterweight, carefully rotate the stylus force ring until the 0 on the ring lines up with the center line marked along the top of the rear arm. Now set the tracking force by rotating the entire counterweight assembly in a counterclockwise direction. As you rotate the counterweight, note that the gauge ring moves with it. Continue turning the counterweight until the 3.5 value on the gauge ring lines up with the center line mark on the rear of the tone arm. You now have set the tracking force properly for the ATP2 cartridge. If you ever change out the cartridge, remember you must rebalance the tone arm and reset the tracking force to the value required by the new cartridge. The turntable has an AntiSkate force adjustment also. This small outward force can be applied to the tone arm to compensate for the natural skating force that pulls the arm toward the center of the record. For best performance during normal turntable operation, set the AntiSkate control knob to the same value as the tracking force dial. In this case, it should be set to 3.5. If you do a substantial amount of back cueing, scratching, or reverse direction operation, you may prefer less or no AntiSkate compensation. It's entirely up to you. If you use a taller cartridge, thicker slip mat, or play thick records such as old 78s, you can adjust the tone arm assembly height so the tone arm remains parallel to the record. To do this, first loosen the height lock. Then rotate the height adjust dial located at the base of the tone arm assembly. When finished, tighten the height lock to secure the adjustment. The AT-LP120-USB can be connected to a wide variety of sound inputs, including mixers, amplifiers, sound cards, or other devices. The turntable has a built-in RIAA magnetic phono preamp, which is used with line-level inputs. If your device has its own RIAA magnetic phono preamp, simply set the selector switch on the rear of the turntable to phono, bypassing the internal preamp. If you are connecting to a sound card, powered speakers, or other auxiliary type input, set the selector switch to line. In this position, the turntable uses its internal RIAA preamplifier. If you are just connecting to the USB output, you can leave the switch in either position as it does not affect the USB output. For more information about Audio-Technica and USB turntables, including how to install and configure the recording software included with your turntable, visit us on the web at www.audio-technica.com. Thank you for watching and enjoy the music.